podcast. Súbele volumen. Conversation with the people who were with me. In the world TV. Carlos Tonight. Historias de un reportero. Carlos Tonight. Dale que viene lo bueno.
Hey everybody, bienvenidos and welcome to Carlos Tonight. It's been a minute since I last did an episode, and the reason why is because I could hardly talk and had something to do with this eye patch that I'm holding in my hand. We'll get to that in a few minutes, as well as my guest this week. This episode, I'm going to get a little personal with you, and my hopes is that I can use this platform to not only educate, but also to raise awareness. So here's what happened to me. On November 30th, 2021, I was heading to bed and I noticed that my chin was numb. I didn't think nothing of it. I went to bed and the next day the numbness was still there. And so I went to work, didn't think anything of it. And I was getting ready to do a television interview and I went to the mirror and that's when I noticed that my eye didn't close. I had trouble raising my eyebrow and I couldn't smile. So I called my doctor's office and the nurse answered. I shared with her what I was experiencing and she advised that I would go to the emergency room because she thought I was having a stroke. And so got to the emergency room, they ruled that out and they said I was experiencing not a stroke, but experiencing facial paralysis, something known as Bell's palsy. So I had no idea what Bell's palsy was and did my research and found that about 200,000 people experience facial paralysis every single year, including A-list celebrities like Angelina Jolie. And in my research, I found a person who has an awesome YouTube channel and she talks about Bell's palsy every single day. So I reached out and I invited her on the podcast to talk about facial paralysis. So please welcome Meghana Dave. Hey, Meghana, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Thanks
So
for
good
being
morning
here.
from India. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
evening and night there. So I'm in India right now. So it's early in like nice morning, sunny morning here. So yeah, really great.
perfect. Yeah, you're connecting from India, as you said. It's shortly after 11 a.m. there and shortly after 11
Right,
p.m. here on Tuesday.
right.
So first, let's talk about your background.
Yes, sure. So, as I said, I hail from India. I'm a neuro rehab physiotherapist. So, I've done my graduation in Bachelor's of Physiotherapy, and after that, I did my post graduation or Master's in Physiotherapy in Neuro Rehabilitation Sciences. After that, I moved on to pursue my clinical journey, and I've been into practice of physiotherapy from more than 14 years now. But surprisingly, what happened is when I started my YouTube channel back in 2017, what I used to do is I used to just capture the request and the information that my relatives, my friends, family members used to have related to their health. So just to help them, I started creating this video. And once one of my aunt, she suffered from Bell's palsy, and she requested me that if you can help me out with the exercises for Bell's palsy. So that's when I basically created one video on 21 exercises of Bell's palsy, which is the most viewed or watched video on my YouTube channel. And to my surprise, then I saw that, oh my God, so many people were writing down to me based on that, like I'm also suffering from this, and what I should do, what are the exercises I should avoid doing. And that's when I realized, oh, this is really a big deal and nobody's trying to solve it in a much deeper level. And that's when I decided to venture into this. And yeah, today I have helped almost 200 plus unique patients suffering from facial paralysis at different stages. I have completed around 500 plus therapy sessions. And yeah, looking forward to help more and more people in the globe suffering from facial paralysis.
That's great. And I also learned a lot from your videos. And when I talked to the doctor told me that you could expect um, to be better between like 6 months to a year. But when I went on TikTok of all places, and I did the
Mhm.
hashtag Bell's palsy, and I found a lot of young people that have suffered from Bell's palsy, and in their experiences,
Right.
like between 2 or 3 weeks, they started feeling better, and that's the exact same time when I started feeling better. I got my smile
Correct.
back and everything like that. Um, how would you explain or describe Bell's palsy?
All right. So when we come up with a neurological disorder, okay, so which says a disorder which is related to your brain or else your central nervous system, which comprises your spinal cord and your nerves, right? So this is divided in two systems. One is called your upper central nervous system, or else your central system, and then there is something called as lower motor neuron system, or else your peripheral nervous system, right? So your Bell's palsy comes in that peripheral kind of problem, which means you have moved out of your brain, your nerve has moved out of the brain, and then it has got damaged. Okay, so now what happens in Bell's palsy? Due to either an cold exposure, due to stress, due to a viral infection, it could be a normal flu, right? It doesn't have to be a very major, sometimes COVID also, and sometimes herpes simplex virus, right? They these viruses attacks your system, okay, and when your immune system is dropped down or else is low, these viruses become more active in your body, and that's where they start attacking the favorite spots. Now some of the favorite spots for viruses in our body is your nose, your throat, and your ear. Now, what happens in your middle ear, which is a very small, tiny canal? From this, your facial nerve, which is your seventh cranial nerve, starts and passes, and then it branches out in five branches like this. Okay. Now, this small canal where the virus attacks, right? There is inflammation that happens, and this area gets swollen completely. And due to this swelling, there is a pressure that's falling on the nerve. Now, when you go to a doctor, when you have suffered from Bell's palsy, and when you go to a doctor, your doctor will prescribe you certain medication, which incorporates corticosteroids, antiviral medications, calcium channel blockers, vitamin B12 supplements. So, all of these medicines, what they do is they try to reduce that swelling in that area. So, as
Mhm.
the swelling reduces, the nerve then gradually starts taking its shape back. Now, if this pressure is relieved before 72 hours, then your chances of faster and better recovery is very high because the nerve has gone through a very minimal damage. And slowly, slowly, within say 7 days, sometimes 15 days, sometimes 20 days maximum, right? Your nerve will come back completely to its original shape and you will be absolutely fine. So that's what happens in 95% of people who suffer from Bell's palsy. Unfortunately, 5% of people go through little major damage to the nerve where the pressure on the nerve stays for more than 72 hours. Now, when that happens, the nerve takes a little bit longer time to recover, and basically, the nerve takes a little longer, 1 mm per day, slowly, slowly, then the progression happens. So then it comes into a severe Bell's palsy. So Bell's palsy, to just summarize, is an infection or it's an injury to your facial nerve, which lies in your central or it's your middle ear.
What would be some of the reasons why someone would wait a long period of time before they get treatment, you think?
See, first thing what happened? No, people many a times don't take it seriously. Okay, that's when what they think is okay. This is something which is temporary. It will resolve on its own. So then they will not go for the treatment, and like they will not take the treatment for more long time. Sometimes the situations are like that. Like I had one. I remember one case of mine, one patient of mine. He got this Bell's palsy when the COVID was just started, right? And there was this very strict lockdown which was there in India, back in India. So he was not able to just reach out to the healthcare facility to check and get the medicines on time because all the doctors
Mhm.
were busy in treating COVID cases. So
Mhm.
that's what led him to not get the treatment on proper time, and he went through a severe damage, and he is still suffering from incomplete recovery.
Mm.
So that
A-
happens. Yeah.
And what are some of the things that patients? I described it at the top of the episode, but what are some of the things that the patients go through? The eye doesn't close, right?
Right. So the first thing, what will happen? You will get some signs before you get Bell's palsy. Some case, sometimes, mostly when the infection is more. There is a severe or is a sudden ear pain that a person will experience. Sometimes it's not just pain. Sometimes there is some ringing sound in ear that might come. That's how it starts.
Mm.
Then the next day when you wake up, you observe that your mouth, or when you are trying to gargle, or is when you are trying to spit out, the water is drooling out from the mouth, right? Then next is the patient will observe that he is not able to efficiently close the eyes, not able to blink properly, and that's when the watering starts, right? So every patient, I would say, has a different story when it comes to how they started getting this episode of Bell's palsy. It's never the same.
Yeah. I know they told me to use this eye patch
Hmm.
because my eye couldn't close. And so I had
Right,
at night, I had to tape it down
right,
and
right,
post it. A
correct,
lot of people were asking me why I had the eye
right,
patch, and that's the reason why.
right.
Uh, what was I going to ask you? So I found your YouTube channel,
Mhm.
and because I did my research and I was like, I don't know what Bell's palsy is.
Right.
Um, why do you think that a lot of people don't know what this facial paralysis is?
Yeah, so this is a problem even in healthcare community as well. Okay, so see, when a person ventures into healthcare, there are so many conditions, so many disorders to look into. Right now, Bell's palsy affects, I would say, approximately 3 lakh people a year.
Mm.
Right now, in billions of population, there are so many disorders which has a very high number, so the focus itself is more on solving those problems. So somewhere this gets neglected for that reason. Second thing, what happens if we look at the literature, like when I see my textbooks, which I used to study during my course, right? There was very small section on Bell's palsy management or as information. So I would say it's a problem with the education system itself, that it is still not considered as a mainstream. But now what I'm seeing is different specialization and super specialization have started coming, where facial rehabilitation is considered as a separate stream of rehab completely. So where a physical therapist who will do their masters, and then they will do a super specialization in facial rehabilitation. So there they read about this in a much more deeper way and in a much more better way. So yeah, that's the reason I guess there is not a lot of awareness about this problem.
Um, have you had cases where the Bell's palsy comes back?
Yes. So every person who gets Bell's palsy has 8% risk of getting it again, because somewhere when it's a viral cause, the viruses never goes out of the body. There is a small strain of virus that always stays in the body as a dormant virus, right? And whenever there is your immune system gets compromised, this virus can reattack your body. So it's very common, kids or as people who have viral infection, herpes virus infection in their childhood, or else if you have shingles when you were a kid, right? And when you grow up, and if you go through some stressful event, or else if you are exposed to cold or something, right? Your immune system will drop down and you might have it again. So people do have 2, 3 episodes of Bell's palsy. Definitely,
Uh-huh.
they have. Yeah.
Why was it important for you to create your YouTube channel?
Right. So this is a very interesting story. As I said, when you are a healthcare professional, all your family members and friends, right? They always reach out to you, seeking help and finding answers, and also. Me being a person from the family who belongs to the space, I always used to get calls from friends and family members like, I'm suffering from this and all. What shall I do? And also I was very fascinated by YouTube itself. I used to really like the concept where YouTube has kind of changed the world and has exposed to so many information and connected so many people. So I was really finding it very fascinating. So I thought of like, let's do these two things together. There's a problem where people are seeking help from me. I like, they look for that help, and one video if I create can help multiple people. Let's do it. At the same time, YouTube is something which I find fascinating. So let's venture into it. Maybe something will click on that. So that's how I started.
What are some of the other topics that you talk about
Right.
on your
So I
YouTube channel?
basically talk about two more topics apart from Bell's palsy, and that is cerebral palsy, where a child goes through brain injury. during birth, before birth, or after birth, due to which there are a lot of physical disabilities that are there for the child throughout the life. So, with physical therapy, what we try to help this child is to achieve maximum level of physical independence. So that's what talk about, and I'm very passionate about that. Along with that, I also talk about back pain from a neuro rehabilitation perspective. So yeah, these are the three topics basically I cover in my channel.
And then you're the founder of the MEDO Health Connect.
Yes, yes, that's my company. So basically, I'm trying to introduce specialty physiotherapy services in India. So in India, still, or as I guess across the globe, physiotherapy or as physical therapy is considered just as in one stream of rehab. But there are many different specializations that do exist. Like there are sports physiotherapists, then there are women's health physiotherapists, then there are cardio rehab physiotherapists, neuro rehab are there. So I want to connect people to the right type of physical therapist who can help you out in that domain, who are expert in that domain. So I'm just trying to build that platform so that a person or else a patient gets the right therapy at right time. So that's
That's
what is
awesome.
Meadow Health
That's
Connect all about.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So for those people who are struggling right now with Bell's palsy, what would you say to them to kind of help them to bring them hope?
I'm sorry I missed you in the middle.
Oh, okay. For those struggling with Bell's palsy right now, what would you say to them to bring them hope? Because when you are diagnosed with Bell's palsy, there's like
Right.
this dark moment where you're like,
I
you
understand.
know,
Right, right. So if you are someone who has recently developed Bell's palsy, you have very high chances of 100% recovery because 95% of people recover out of that time. So first thing that I would like to tell is please don't panic. Okay, just stay calm. Whatever are your medicines, take those medicines on time. Don't force your facial muscles at this stage to contract. Okay, because slowly, as your nerve will regenerate, you will get the movements back. But if you who are someone who has got some little more severe damage on the nerve, say it's been more than 3 months for you to recover, then seek help from a facial rehabilitation physiotherapist or as a physical therapist who is kind of working in that space so that he can or she can help you out in a much more better and deeper way. So yeah, that's what I would like to say.
does acupuncture help at all?
Yes, acupuncture definitely helps, but it helps in the relaxation perspective. Okay, so because these muscles are going through a lot of stress, so there are very high chances for development of trigger points or tight spots, right? So acupuncture helps there, but it never helps in the nerve level to heal or heal faster. Yeah.
And then how many videos of different types of exercises do you have for Bell's palsy?
Oh,
A
I
lot, right?
haven't kept a count actually, but I guess in my channel around 600 videos are already there, out of which maximum are of Bell's palsy. But what I really suggest to my patients is see the YouTube videos that you see are from an general perspective, just to give an awareness. But when I connect with the patients and I give them therapy, at that time I record the session and I give those exercises. I create a personalized exercise program for them. That is something which is much more better. So you should follow that than just following the YouTube video. Yeah.
And then have you had people reach out to you thanking you for your videos like I
Oh,
did?
definitely. That's really a blessing. I would say that I never expected this, to be very honest. That my videos will help so many people, but there are so many emails I get. I get mentions on videos, like you mentioned me. Same way, there are some creators who have mentioned me on their YouTube videos. So yeah, it's really a grateful feeling that I feel like I'm able to help someone. Yeah.
That's great. And thank you so much for helping me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Where can people find you? What's your web address or your channel and all that stuff?
Yes. So I have a website named www.healthqrehab.com. Along with that, my email ID is info@healthqrehab.com. So you can reach out to me from there. Or else, I'll also share a phone number if you want. It's 960 640 2843. I can mention it. I'll send it to you. So if you want, you can
Oh,
share it with
perfect.
your.
Yeah, we'll have all that information in the episode notes so people can be
Right.
aware and they can connect with you like I did. So thanks again, Meghana Dave. I appreciate your time. Thanks for taking the time to
Thank you.
talk
Thank
with me. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.